Speaking of regrets, Matteo Jorgenson used to not like Victor Campenaerts. Now they're best friends. Very stepbrothers. Figuring out they both like night vision goggles, living in their parents' spare room in their mid-30s or 40s or whatever. Welcome to Spin Cycle. I'm Johnny Long, not Katie Fretz. We'll get into why our fearless leader is absent. But today on the show, Marcel Kittel is back. Never say never, but Israel have apparently rebranded. And Matteo Jorgenson lifts the lid on his old semi-enemies, which is not a phrase I've ever heard before. But there we go. Let's get to it. Happy Monday to you, Kit Nicholson.
And to you, Johnny Long.
How formal. The British takeover of the Monday pod.
It was already... Wait, what?
Oh, no, it's already the same.
The ratio is the same.
The ratio,
you are,
well,
I mean, I suppose you are now hosting, so it is somewhat of a takeover.
That's kind of what I meant without even knowing it. But yes, we have conquered. Chapeau to us. Dane Cash, you're transferred in for a melting pot of Monday and Thursday podcasts.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I usually feel like I mean, to your point, it's usually a different balance. So now I kind of have to fend for myself here, which is going to be interesting. We'll see.
We'll go easy on you, Dane. Don't worry. Where I'd like to start today, on of all days, is some news. I think you covered it the weekend, Kit.
I did indeed.
With Marcel Kittel is the latest Unibet Rose Rocket, not racing,
No.
but sprint coach role. But still, Marcel Kittel back in cycling. His first proper job back in.
Well, it's definitely
stuff?
on the racing side because he's been an official part of the crew over on the German commentary team for the Tour and some other big events. But he did his first tour as a pundit in 2019, the very year that he retired. Only a couple of months after he retired, in fact. Anyway, yeah. So he's returning to he's not yet followed the semi-traditional route for ex-pros to go into coaching or directing. But yeah, he's. I mean, I think part of the reason he's finding himself here now is that his kids are a little bit older. He was apparently approached by Bas Tietema a few years ago when they were just getting started as a Conti team, which was only 3 years ago. It's absurd. But he was apparently approached then. He said, actually, no, not just yet, because my kids are little. But now the stars are aligning. Dylan Groenewegen, Elmo Reinders, Rory Townsend, all of these incoming bigwigs. And they've also got, Lucas Kubis and Thomas Kopecky, that are established kind of within the team's infrastructure. So it seems like the right time. They've also obviously got the almost certain... I mean, the biggest story right now would be if they don't make it to the 2026 Tour de France. So it's another layer on that story. And, Kittel's won 14 Tour de France stages in his career. He knows what a sprinter's mindset is. He is more of the kind of sprinter, was more of the kind of the sprinter that Dylan Groenewegen is. Probably belongs to an older version of sprinters, not less of the kind of climby types who can definitely make it to the end of a Grand Tour. Obviously, Dylan Groenewegen has done that many times, including in Paris. But yeah, so it's a really interesting, like I said, an interesting extra layer to that team, which is fast becoming one of the most interesting to watch. Somebody commented on the news over the weekend that. This feels kind of like the new EF. They're doing social media right. They're doing kind of team culture, bringing in big names who are, part of the job at Unibet Rose Rockets is to interact with the public, to be fun, and social media is a huge part. Kittel has never had a problem with showing his quiff off to camera.
I haven't looked that word up, by the way.
Surely that's made it over there. You're kidding?
Maybe I've just been living under a rock.
What do you guys call
me.
A haircut. I don't does that particular haircut have a name here? I don't know. But if you know Marcel Kittel, he's got
he's got a very beautifully coiffured barnet. Do you know what a barnet is?
Everything you just said there, yeah. I do know because I heard you say it, but other than that, Anyway, there you go. It's his hair.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
No, it's one of those. I don't know. It's another fun story out of that team, which, everyone's taking seriously now. The video also was great. It was a very good. I mean, that's also not
Lego?
news. It was Bass was using Lego to kind of ponder his sprint train, and then in slides, Kittel, would you like some help?
I thought you meant he was like in slides, like the sort of
Oh,
Adidas ones.
No, but then Kittel. I mean, I don't know if they got an actual creative to do this or AI. However, Kittel then picks up a little figure with his name on the back and a kind of facsimile of a team jersey.
Oh.
He flicks the helmet off
Wow.
and slots on a beautifully coiffured bonnet.
Ah.
And then the little Lego figure winks. It's brilliant. It was great stuff.
Wow.
So
It's fun.
yeah, it's a
fun,
lot
which
of
is
fun.
the main
That team are nailing it right now.
They're fun. They're getting all the right names in to make people,
Take them seriously.
More people care and take themselves seriously. The thing that comes next, which was what EF had to do at some point, is as well as be the fun team, they then were like, well, we've got to win some bike races. So the proof will be in the pudding in 2026. They probably will relish a bit of pressure as well, I would imagine, to because if you want to and you're maybe going to go to the Tour de France, then it's like, well, you got to go and actually turn up and do some things. So they'll have to get used to that pretty quick.
I think Groenewegen is the key to getting those wins.
Yeah, but also they can go to a lot of 1.1 races in France with Lefay and Lucas Kubis and just get some teams doing Astana and front load the year with some wins to bolster them at motivation, and then everyone's got to start winning. Everyone's got to keep the ball rolling, like UNOX has done. They've I reckon it will. I reckon Dylan Groenewegen will. If let's say they have 12 wins at the end of the year, maybe that's optimistic. But that team very much in. Yeah, I don't know. I can see that happening, but I can also see Groenewegen only getting 2 or 3 of them. I think most of the wins are not going to come from Groenewegen. I am probably going to be proven wrong, but I think the whole team is going to be brought up a level just by the motivation and the inspiration that all of these new signings, the promise of the tour, even the riders that are not going to get a seat on the tour bus, there's going to be a lot more kind of, I don't know, adrenaline going, and the idea of a future in the World Tour, and look, everyone's paying attention to us now. Look, haven't we got great kit? All of that sort of thing. I think we're going to see them winning from February.
One aspect of this that I'm intrigued by, I don't have an answer to the question I'm about to raise, but something that's it's worth thinking about, and it'd be good to get your opinions, or also just to get the opinions of anybody listening. I kind of wonder what impact a DS has on that. Like, can that make the difference? Like, is the team, obviously we're never going to know this answer, right? But like, with Marcel Kittel on the team, are they winning 4 or 5 more races than they would have? Will we ever know? Did Mark Renshaw, was he the key with Cavendish at Astana? Is he going to be the key at Decathlon? Like, when you bring in a big name,
Cheese Bowl?
that could be that guy. Yeah, it's true.
From a national team, which Greipel has been running, but the national teams in some of the kind of lowland countries do seem to take a lot of ex-pros quite quickly before they get picked up by a world team, for instance. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Kittel is a personality, first things first, but also Groenewegen needs a new lease on life. So he needs a kind of a boost, and a new team is that in itself, a new environment, new teammates, a bit more status. It was a huge deal that they brought him on board. But yeah, I mean, that's something that I was definitely wondering as I wrote this up on Saturday is, how much is this just, a kind of an extra
Marketing.
billboard, an extra bit of marketing.
Well.
And you know what? If it is, that's just fine.
Yeah.
But he's also, I mean, another thing about Kittel is that he's a fluent Dutch speaker, so he can really, really connect with Groenewegen on that level. And a lot of they will have shared languages. Anyhow, I feel embarrassed by saying that if you're sitting here as an English speaker and they don't speak anything else really, speak a bit of Italian and French, but these guys all speak a lot of languages, so they'd be fine. But there's a definite kind of, he is going to fit in straight away. And I think there's certainly an environment, an atmosphere. So yeah, whether it's racing and tactics or it's just what he adds to the team and gives the team a little bit more weight, it's a good question.
So once again, the Unibet Rose Rockets near the top of our run sheet, something we're clearly, I think, looking forward to more than anything else. It's amidst all of the team closures and not so fun news, this is a real bit of news that is positive, is promising, gives us hope for the sport and for the 2026 season. One actually final thing I saw on Marcel Kittel is that he was in the Domestique hot seat for the Domestique hot seat podcast and had a great little quote which was, I don't believe cycling is clean now. Absolutely not. You'd have to be very naive about the facts if you wanted to believe that. You have to look at the sport honestly, even as a fan. So Marcel Kittel, one of the good guys as well, turns out, maybe. So that's
Well, he's also
fun.
saying what we all believe anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people don't say that.
It's not a perfectly clean sport. Yeah, I suppose. And he's especially he's just been signed by a team. Not that I'm suggesting anything to do with either of those parties, but it's not like he is a fan anymore.
No, exactly. So no, I don't know. Just a nice quote from Kittel that he probably wouldn't have had to say. He could have batted that topic away, but takes quite a lot. I'm sure he'll get a few furrowed brows from certain sections of the peloton for having even said
anything.
That.
Yeah.
So good for you, Marcel. Hopefully your quiff can protect you. I'd like to switch over to another sprinter now, one that is currently riding, but also fair-haired. So there is a sort of link there. But this one, rather than transferring into, being backroom staff of a team or potentially being fun, is actually found himself with a bit morose. Because Tim Merlier, I think, has been the first, if not one of the first, to confirm that the United Arab Emirates are building an artificial mountain for the 2028 Road World Championships, which will, if that comes to pass, as Tim Merlier is reporting it is, via an interview with Het Last News, that Tim Merlier might finish his career without a rainbow jersey, which he's pretty bummed about. And it comes off the back of, in this interview with Het Last News, Tim Merlier is saying, it's a shame that the Tour's removing all the sprints or doing fewer and fewer sprint stages, which if you look at the route coming up, that I remember there being a lot of sprint stages. I remember
it's not that
a lot of size. It's a lot. Also saying about how, sprinters are now not the same as they used to be, where they can be a bit more versatile. So Tim Merlier down on everything. Maybe it's just November blues, but particularly I think this exclusive news that the UAE, which I can't find anywhere else. I've had a look. The UAE
me
are building
too.
an artificial mountain for the 2028 Worlds has really bummed him out. The only thing I could find online was that apparently this was like 2016 reports that the UAE were thinking of building an artificial mountain to try and increase rainfall in the country. And maybe...
I remember that story, yeah.
Maybe they're also going to use it to thwart Tim Merlier in the Road World Championships. But I don't know. What do you guys make of this story? It's a great headline, but do we know what's going on? It's such a... Because Het Last News is a print publication, predominantly, I think. So a lot of the news articles we get sent have just been put online by Wheeler Flitz from reading a physical newspaper. So it's hard to find extra context.
And what they grab, they latch on. I believe the comment that he made was barely half a dozen words long. He was like, "They're working on it." Yeah.
But they're working on it. Is in journalistic.
Well, I mean,
that's
our esteemed colleague Ronan McLaughlin. He he reckoned, because I asked the crew this over the weekend, because I thought, is this news or is this a grumpy old man? Sorry, Tim. But I think So Ronan said that he had heard something about this as well, that there was a plan to do this.
Wow.
Because they want Pogačar to win at the UAE, obviously. But yeah, or just to make it more exciting and not just have a sprint stage. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
I was going to say that I'm a little bit surprised at his confidence, that he's confident enough to be bummed by this. Like, for this to upset you, you have to think that 2.5 years from now, Tim
You'd
Merlier,
still be the fastest sprinter.
Already, like,
he'll be 36 by then, or
he's
approaching
great,
36
but
by
he's
then.
he's never been that much better
guy.
than the other
peers
of sprinters, right?
Yeah.
So to think that
One
2.5
of the
years
best.
from now you're gonna still be at the level you're at, and therefore able to win a world championship,
and have the luck all on your side.
But the flip side of that is I'm actually not surprised, because that's how you have to be a sprinter.
Yeah.
Sprinting is, to go back to the NFL, it's the wide receiver of cycling. You have to have that swagger.
Diva.
And that otherwise you would not put yourself in the position. I think I've heard Sam Bennett say stuff like this. Like, you wouldn't put yourself in these absurdly dangerous situations unless you really believed that you were going to win every time. So I get it.
It's probably from the same original article, but I mean, obviously it's chopped up. But he also said at some point last week, Tim Merlier, that he doesn't believe he's the fastest sprinter in the world, and that his favorite result from 2025 was actually coming second to Mads Pedersen at Gent Wevelgem.
That's the most Tim Miller thing I've ever heard.
That is strange. Yeah, okay.
So adding those
Wow.
things together, I don't know. I mean, it's November. I think that's the
The-
only conclusions to draw from this.
That's a good conclusion to draw. To read the quote that was smushed together of this Last News interview, it says they're working on it besides that circuit. So I think he's saying that the mountain is beside the circuit that's going to be used for the Worlds. I haven't even looked. 2028. I'm not thinking about 2027 yet. Give me a chance, Tim Miller. But he says every year we see that hill grow in size at the UAE Tour. So what they're like continuing to build up Hebel Hafit or something? I'm so confused by this story. I love Tim Millia's sachet into exclusive news reporting.
He's getting ready to be a Belgian 50-year-old team manager.
or a column in Het Nieuwsblad.
Well, the same thing.
The way we figure this out is maybe we do is Guess Who? Do you have Guess Who in America, Dane? The board game where you flip up the little characters.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Maybe we do one of those, but for people that both Ronan and Tim Malia know, and that way we can then try and figure out where this news came from.
There's definitely a large overlap there because Ronan raced so long in Belgium.
Yeah,
So I think
we'll have to find it.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the difference between grizzled older Belgian men is going to be difficult in a game of Guess Who. But hey, God loves a trier. I believe that is all we have on that story. Which we're calling that stories maybe
November story.
that November story. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break, talk about how we think we're doing in the absence of Katie Fretz, and then we'll be right back, but it won't feel like very long at all for you listening. Okay, so what we have realised is that we recorded the intro to this podcast twice because messed it up a little bit. I was recording at the wrong microphone, doesn't matter. But what we also forgot is the first time around we explained why Kaylee isn't here, and now gone a whole 15 to 17 minutes of you knowing that Kelly's not here, not knowing why. Hopefully, by us just carrying on, you realise it's not a serious situation. He was skiing over the weekend in crusty butt, I think. We saw the snow cam on Thursday's podcast. So he's been ripping it down a few crevices, I would imagine. I think that's what he's doing. Or crushing fresh power. I can't remember which one is the proper term. Probably neither of them.
Yeah.
But he's fine. He's fine. He's been on Slack this morning. I think he's having a well-earned extra half day of skiing because his internet's not good enough because he's up a mountain, so he couldn't podcast. Convenient, I would say. But maybe he knew that we were going to do another B block of this podcast on, well, they're not, we don't have to even call them question mark, or the team formerly known as Israel Premier Tech, because they have rebranded. Welcome to the peloton, Team NSN.
Say what?
Say what? Well, never say never, Kit, because that is apparently what NSN stands for. Tell me what you know, what we know. I want to know it all.
Yikes.
Well, first of all,
Yes.
it's an entertainment company. I think that's
okay.
that's the.
You mean
way
isn't
they
it a
describe
band?
themselves. Well, they facilitate others. Doing
I was
the
referring to
entertaining.
the branding actually, but yeah.
The branding. That's
With
a whole
apologies
nother-
to
that's a
Nine Inch
whole-
Nails.
Yeah. So I raised this point in Slack the other day because when I saw this is immediately what I thought of, and then I went and looked at the logo for Nine Inch Nails, and it was confirmed that this is definite. There's just no way that they put this logo together without knowing the NIN logo. For those of you who are not 30. It's a band from a while ago. Trent Reznor is the front man. That's kind of the only man. And yeah, the logo for Nine Inch Nails is pretty much identical to NSN, except it's an I instead of an S. Flipped letter N at the end. Yeah, Johnny's got it up on the screen. If you watch on YouTube, you'll be able to see. Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty clear case of inspiration. Would be a friendly way of putting it.
There's no originality anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe they're not-
imitation.
Maybe they're not big in Spain, although Nine Inch Nails seems like the type of band that would be big in Spain.
I feel like Nine Inch Nails, at least in the '90s, was pretty big
Yeah.
everywhere.
I feel like continental Europe's still big into guitar music. And
Well,
like,
Trent
of the
Reznor also. I mean,
90s
like
and
the
noughties or
again, the
whatever.
guy who is Nine Inch Nails also he does like film and TV scores now. Like people.
Yeah,
know
he's
who
great.
he is. Yeah. So, anyway,
I mean, he's prolific anyway.
yeah,
Maybe
I
this
think
is all
he's.
part
I
of
think
the
he's both
plan.
great and prolific.
Maybe this is part of the plan to not make us get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on.
There we go. We have successfully killed 2 minutes on nothing
All right,
related to the team.
That's great for November. That's really good.
So, NSN, an entertainment company, co-founded by Andres Iniesta, who's a former Barcelona and Spanish midfielder. If I recall, I should have looked this up before, but also there's too much going on in November for me to be looking up Andres Iniesta's past. Definitely had some money troubles. NSN has also been involved in a couple of interesting deals, should we say, such as some sort of deal with Peru, I believe it was. Ian Trelaw's got an article on the website.
I can read the.
Oh, have you got it? Great.
Yeah, and actually, it'll be a good way for us to get Kaylee onto the podcast because it's the story is it's back and forth between Kaylee Fritz and Ian Trelaw.
Yeah, it's described as a round table, but really it's a
One
conversation.
cannot simply, and I'm pretty sure Ian had written like half of it without Kaylee's input, but that's probably shouldn't have said that.
The
But,
round table was less round and more, I don't
yes,
know,
Ian
breakfast
looking
bar.
in the mirror. One cannot simply write a story on like what we know so far. Ian has to make it into an
Oh,
larger
yeah.
conversation.
It
It
has
was
to be
good
an
fun.
interesting-
Sorry,
yeah.
Dane.
Well, yeah, let me just quote Kaylee. So that way we've brought him into this podcast. Even though
Yes.
he's not here, he's here. Right. So here's what Kaylee says about Iniesta and the NSN connection. All right. He's quoting a headline in Marca, which is a Spanish newspaper. Former Barcelona star accused of defrauding businessmen in Peru of more than $600,000. And then this is Kaylee himself. He's accused of doing this via Never Say Never. That's the company. That's NSN, right? Basically, a bunch of businessmen in Peru said the company used Iniesta's name to assure them that some big soccer matches would happen and they would get a return on their investment. And those matches allegedly did not happen, and so they allegedly did not get their money. And this is now switching to Ian, quoting Ian, which allegedly seems bad. NSN Sudamerica, the entity behind the organization of these events, has since declared bankruptcy and been placed in liquidation. And the money has apparently disappeared into the ether. So there is some
Shades of Nextash and Manuel Fundación.
they reference this in,
Yeah.
in this story. So just go read the story, obviously, over at escapecollective.com, where also, if you're not a member, you can sign up to become a member. Right. It's definitely one of those things where we don't know a lot about the company. The purpose of the company is nebulous. And, yeah, there's just some not great stories out there. On the flip side, we're not talking like on the spectrum of World Tour sponsors, pretty mild.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The other sponsor that's in partnership but not named as a team is Stoneweg Asset Management, which is an interesting name. But I guess if you manage assets, you don't really have to worry about, real things like earning money. You just have assets. I don't know how it works. That's why I do this. But what we do know is that Stoneweg actually came on board with Israel Premier Tech for or during the Tour de France earlier this year. So they've been a known quantity amongst the team. We're currently trying to get some answers out of it. There's a bit of... I've got a couple of little things bubbling away. Nothing I can share live on the podcast, which is, a shame and not very good podcasting. But there will be an article at some point this week with what we know. Because what hasn't been said a lot, and there's been a lot of...
Speculation?
Speculation, and the team itself, and also the Marca report on the story, because
Yeah.
they're obviously very pleased that there's like a Spanish sort of involved team, like the Spanish involvement in a World Tour team. Like
they intend to be based out of Spain, don't they?
Yes,
But-
Though they'll
registered
be
in
registered in
Switzerland, but
Switzerland,
based-
yeah.
registered in Switzerland, but NSN is a sort of Barcelona-based company, so they're obviously been Marca of, I don't know what's going on there, but they're obviously flying the flag for this new team. But amongst all the talk of a new page for this team, that's the goal, right? That's why they've changed pretty much everything around, apart from a lot of the riders, is how much Sylvan Adams is still involved. That is what we're trying to get to the bottom of. We haven't been able to get a simple answer yet, which would logically lead you to believe that there is some level of involvement there, but we will get to the bottom of that before we say one way or the other. But it'll be on the site this week for sure.
We should also provide context for those who aren't fully engaged in the story. He's
Sure.
the co-founder, co-owner of the Israel Premier Tech Squad. He's basically been the sort of standard bearer in public for the organization right up until late this year, when they simultaneously announced, one, that they were going to be sort of rebranding and shedding their Israeli identity, and also that Sylvan Adams was going to step away from day-to-day stuff. And so since then, it's unclear, is he still involved in any way? How much? And now it sounds like we're going to hopefully find out a little bit more about that, but we really don't know at this juncture.
Yes. Off mic, do we want to talk about the old kit, or is that more of a, should I say that for the newsletter? Do you want to talk about it? It feels a bit like, what are we going to say apart from
poking the bear a little bit.
Yeah, I think written it down and being sure on what we're saying is...
This team is, entering serious confusion, or at least I am. But for one thing, having a look at the rider list, which I think is still incomplete. Well, we're expecting more signings anyway. But it looks like Chris Neylands, the former multiple, I think, Latvian national champion, has changed his nationality to Austrian.
Is this on the? Are you looking at the NSN website? Where
I
is
am,
this?
yeah.
Is it possible that whoever did this just got confused because the flags are pretty identical?
Yes. They're not identical, are they?
I mean, I can
There's
see where
a
they're
thinner line of white, and it's a darker red. It's not great. It's not a good look, Dane.
No, it's not a good look. In defense.
My question is, who on God's green earth is using or finding emojis to use? Is it an emoji that they're using, or is it just a flag?
Yeah, it's just an emoji.
Okay,
yeah.
Who is scrolling down to pick the flag manually rather than just searching the flag? That would be, if we're going to criticize this new team NSN for anything so far, whether that's maybe just a light makeover to obscure from what people protested about last year or any other number of things. First on the docket, who is manually searching for emojis for the creation of the team website?
It could be Escape member Raphael. I don't know if you guys saw this on the Discord, where he found emojis for all four constituent parts. Well, actually, various parts of the British and Irish Isles. He found emojis that, if you weren't looking closely, you might think were the correct ones. Particularly Cote d'Ivoire, because Ivory Coast and Ireland. Anyway, this could be him. I'm wondering if this is Raphael behind the scenes. So there's actually an Escape plant doing this. Maybe.
Just before we move off this subject, they've started to wish happy birthday to their various riders, which makes their social media, their Instagram page look. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, they also did the very 2010 thing of putting block colours across the whole width of their social media, their Instagram page. So now they're all out of sync. But anyway, the background of the birthday message for Marty Poe, it's looking very Unibet Rose Rockets.
Oh yes, it is a bit. You're right. Maybe they copied their homework. Yes,
lots of orange, pink, and purple and blue. Anyway.
The birthday thing, wishing riders
who haven't even joined the team yet,
but just wishing people in general happy birthday. Like, why did that start? Is that just for social media managers who can then say that they did something?
Oh, you mean in cycling? I thought you were questioning the use of celebrating birthdays generally.
No. Look,
you never know.
Look, sometimes I'm a bit of a cynic. Birthday's totally cool. I think that's even a good idea, perhaps. But wishing, like, who's ever looked like, imagine if Escape Collective account was like, happy birthday, Dane. You'd be like, could you like,
I'd feel
book
quite
the day
nice
off, leave me alone.
Tell you what, it does look like it was taken on Team Camp, though, because he is wearing what does look like a branded NSN jacket.
Unless that's just simply, photoshopped in there.
Yes, but it's on a slant and it's slightly curved too, so it's very good Photoshop.
I don't know. I'm zooming in. That looks like it very well could be slapped on there. It's possible.
I'm saying, I'm going to call it, I think that's photoshopped. I think they got everyone to take blank photos and then they...
Maybe.
But we don't even know, we haven't been given the ins and outs of the relationship, what's going on. This is the thing, is that it's just like there's a new name.
It's November the 24th and we know nothing.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. The block colour thing as well. I presume that's just because you have
they haven't got a team kit yet.
Well, they want to split out from the old photos of Israel Premier Tech because they have not started a new account and just taken over the old one, which fair enough.
Does make sense.
That's technically an asset, not one that Stoneweg will probably be interested in. But yes, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Kit. That's
I apologise.
Maybe that'll go to the top of my list of things to ask the team.
Okay, good.
Keeping it serious and buttoned up and journalism-y. Right, that's enough of that. I think we did fairly well. Maybe we'll just tell Kaylee afterwards that we did a whole section on Israel and just have him, slightly uneasy for the rest of the day until the podcast comes out. But he won't know that we kept it clean. Right, we're gonna assess our situation once more and be back for the C block. And the C does stand for cyclocross this time. Right, so there was cyclocross this weekend, not just cyclocross, but the Cyclocross World Cup. And I would like to tell you, Kit, that I did watch 4 minutes of the pre-show because there was a gap in between on my Sporting Sunday where I woke up, watched the recorded Las Vegas Grand Prix, straight up until, and then after that was my gap for the cyclocross. Then I watched Sheffield Wednesday versus Sheffield United, straight into Villa Leeds, then the North London Derby, then Chicago Bears, Pittsburgh Steelers, and
Good
then
Lord.
Eagles Cowboys. So
Good
14
effort.
hours of uninterrupted sport.
Jeez.
But unfortunately, the Cyclocross World Cup couldn't compete. That's just a me thing. But I think you were at least paying attention, if not
I was
watching.
at least paying attention.
Great.
Yes.
So please tell me and any other people who had similar Sundays what happened.
Well, it was the first round of the UCI Cyclocross World Cup, and it was in Tabor, Czechia, which is quite often a very cold round. And after the cold snap we all experienced last week, I certainly did, there was a lot of, anticipation of potentially a Winter Wonderland type cross. And there have been some pretty epic Tabor rounds in the past. Not as many as memory serves, because that's always the way, isn't it? But if you look up Tabor 2010, the photos are amazing. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's proper snow. But yeah, so it's often an exciting course. It is a park course, so not the most exciting if the conditions are good. But it was still icy, so there are a lot of people just sliding out in corners, especially late in the day, which definitely impacted the men's race for second. But yeah, it was. I mean, there were no big surprises. Lucinda Brand continues to top the table in this early part of the season, although she still had to fight for it again, facing Inge van der Heide and Sarah Casasola. So that was a good race. Thibaut Nice in the men's race just kind of lit the afterburners after Joris Nieuwenhuis crashed in the second lap, and with no Cameron Mason to fight with from last weekend after poor Cam had slashed his tyre open in the opening straight. Yeah, Thibaut Nice just ran away with it. 6.5 laps solo, got to the finish on his own. He'd managed to lose enough time in his celebrations to have the gap closed to 8 seconds. But it says more about how he was just enjoying his last half lap and the taking in the mood from the crowd. But
just real quick to give people context here, this is cold enough that I'd call it cold.
I was waiting for the weatherman to get
I just
involved.
checked it. I just looked.
Yeah.
It's in the 20s, which is -3-ish.
Yeah, it was -6 on the west coast, Dane, and we had
That's
no
wild.
heating.
That's wild. Yeah.
And
that's proper
Atlantic
cold.
wind.
The fact that, and it's during the daytime too. So this is like, that means it got way colder at night. Like they're racing in this. That is, I'll give that my stamp of impress.
Yeah, they were
That's
properly
huge.
rugged up. There were even a few buffs up to the nose. That was you should never see.
I mean, I'm not going to go outside and ride on that. So
yeah.
We
impressive.
should create some sort of certificate that we can send to places
Dana
when
approved.
Dana approved, like interesting weather.
Yeah,
for the
and same
75th
for
time I was complaining
Kaylee.
about you guys complaining about weather last
Right, okay.
show.
And then we can do similar mock-ups for Kaylee about distances in Europe as well.
Yes.
That's a sufficiently far distance.
Yeah, that's actually
to-
far. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, just to finish on Thibaut Nice, he turned up in a special edition helmet that he had made. He had made.
Yeah. Go for it.
It kind of in tribute to his dad. He'd found a picture from 2015, I think, when his dad Sven Nice, who was possibly the greatest cyclocross Well, at least who has since retired. You know, there are maybe others who are going to beat his records and what have you. But Sven Nys was an epic cyclocross racer. He has a race named after him now, and
Wow.
all that jazz. But yeah, so Timo Nys had a special helmet painted this past week, and Sven didn't know. So that was a nice little touch, and it was a good thing that he went and won the thing as well. So yeah, have a look at the gallery if you want to see. It's in there.
Question: do we know yet when we're going to get either Van der Poel or Wout van Aert?
No, remember Van der Poel is maybe at Christmas.
Yes.
No, Wout van Aert Wout van Aert's too busy doing quiz shows in the States, by what I can gather.
Yes, I saw this. But no, is it not in Belgium? Is it?
Okay, maybe Belgium. I don't know.
I'm sure Wout van Aert
I'm
can't get
getting
on
muddled.
American
He did an interview with a New York magazine, I think, or something.
Oh.
I don't know.
Wow.
Sometime early last week.
I think he did an interview with The Athletic, which is part of the New York
with
Times.
so that's why
this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, we've heard nothing, and absolutely nothing from Tom Pidcock, who I'm not sure is going to race this winter. Same, Marianne Vos might race late this year.
If my
early
choice
next,
was race in negative 5-ish Celsius or not race, I think I'd choose the latter, actually. So I can understand this.
Yeah, shame. The few other news bits to begin closing out the show. Jean-René Bernadeau is not retiring after all. Is that confirmed? What's the latest on that?
Yeah, so there was a report last week. We brought it up briefly. We discussed. Actually, no, we discussed why there was a great segue from Anglo-Saxons to Bretons, right?
Yes,
because
the
Jean-René
Anglo-Saxon pivot. Who could forget?
Of course, and then that's why I wore this shirt today.
Good choice.
So,
Beowulf for anyone not watching on YouTube.
Yeah, famously Anglo-Saxon poem, right? Jean-René Bernadeau, who is Breton, has run the Total Energies team for something like 30 years.
Yeah.
We got a report in West France the other day, last week, suggesting that he's finally stepping down to be replaced by Stéphane Hulot. Actually, sorry, Stéphane Hulot is the one who we were talking about as being from Brittany. Right, anyway. Now, the team has put out a press release saying, hold on a minute, that's not happening yet, or it's not happening.
Right.
Bernadeau is still running the team this coming year.
Okay.
They did say that, like, they kind of hinted that changes are afoot. They said that they're doing some internal, thinking to figure out what the next steps for the team are, which implies to me that maybe this transition isn't happening yet. Like, Bernadeau, I mean, he's eventually going to retire, assumedly.
He might not have a team next year if Ineos,
Yeah, true.
grab him out.
And no mention of exactly what was going on, why this report happened. But it's just a little weird. And I feel like if it had been a team that people cared more about, then maybe we might have cared a little bit more. But because it's Total Energies, which I feel like is in the running for least interesting team.
Yeah, although they have today, they've got a second unretirement story.
Really?
Kind of.
Who?
So Geoffrey Bouchard, whose name you might recognise,
You're joking.
who retired in October from Decathlon. He was racing with Decathlon AG2R.
Yeah.
He has unretired and signed with Total Energies. They posted a video this morning from the chateau in Brittany with Geoffrey Bouchard typing out, making his new Instagram story, and then looking wistfully up at that big wall of jerseys that we remember seeing in the Unchained.
I'm watching it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy unretirement, Geoffrey. I believe he's 29, which is...
Oh, that's too young to retire from anything.
Yes, younger than me.
Well, good for old Jeff.
Yeah, there are a lot of young riders retiring this year, so it's nice to see one of them actually find some real interest from somewhere.
Do you think they feel silly when they have to undo the retirement thing, or do you think they're just like buzzing that they've got a new contract?
I think the latter, probably.
Yeah, agreed. Is that everything from French Encyclopedia?
French Corner. Well, I mean, there is, speaking of Frenchmen and Total Energies.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear about Thibaut Guernalac surviving a car crash?
Breton.
Now
he is Breton. Yeah, and he is,
okay.
and Arkea B&B World Tour rider until the end of this year. But yeah, so Thibaut Guernalac was knocked out by a driver on Friday. Broken a vertebra and a finger, and he was apparently, and he's subsequently posted to his own Instagram, I think. He doesn't remember the 4 hours after the crash, which is quite scary.
Oh my god!
But yeah, he's I think he's believed to be signing with Total Energies. So I hope he's okay. And be careful out there, I guess.
Well, I hope Jeffrey Bouchard doesn't come and eat in his lunch, because that
I
would be unfortunate. Also feel bad for saying that I didn't want to hear about going lack. Wish I had waited for you to finish your sentence, but sometimes you just got to own up and accept that you did things that you very instantly regret. Speaking of regrets, Matteo Jorgenson used to not like Victor Campenaerts, now they're best friends. Very step-brothers, figuring out they both like night vision goggles, living in their parents' spare room in their mid-30s or 40s or whatever. Kit, you brought this story to my attention.
I saw, I don't know, I saw some quotes, and then I found the video that the quotes came from. It was a kind of video diary, a little bit too long. Yeah, that's the word. A little bit too long, I think.
Was it the whole day
15
film,
minutes. 15 minutes of following a cyclist around. As nice as Matteo Jorgenson is quite a long time.
Okay.
But so a few takeaways. First of all, you watch him make a truly horrific lunch.
Okay, stop. Need to know more about the lunch. Don't try and go swiftly on.
I think he weighed out 100 grams of gnocchi, which did look like they'd come from a local deli in Nice.
Okay.
But he weighed out 100 grams of gnocchi, then put two fried eggs on top, which he kind of sweated as well, because he put a Pyrex lid over the frying pan, which is a strange thing to do.
Yeah.
And then he put kimchi with the gnocchi and eggs, and just finished it off with some Tabasco for good measure.
What the?
Yeah.
That is weird.
But then
eggs.
another. So
Is that a
speaking
thing?
of the,
Is gnocchi and eggs a thing? No.
I don't think so. I mean, pasta and egg is a thing.
Yeah,
carbonara. But yeah, I know. I don't know. But what it was quite refreshing to see and I know cycling's not as glamorous as some sports, but his kitchen is not particularly glamorous. It just looks very lived in and ordinary, which was great. I was like, yeah, respect, Matteo. That's good stuff. He's at risk of letting on his address by some of the imagery, but anyway. And he also points out that 3 other cyclists live around here, by the way. One over there, all that sort of thing. Bless him. But yeah, so the most interesting part, though, was how he described his favourite thing about this past year. He's made a new friend.
Oh.
Victor Campenaerts.
Yeah, I mean, who couldn't have a bit of Vic?
Yeah. But apparently, the answer to that question is not necessarily everyone, including Matteo Jorgenson, who... Now, let me find the quote, because it's completely daft. You've got it. Why don't you read it for me? There you go.
I won't do the accent. Who do we find could do a good... I think, was it Patrick of...
You've got an American sitting right next to you.
Yeah,
you mean the Victor Campenaerts, right?
Can you...
It's not a Victor Campenaerts quote.
It's a Jorgenson quote.
Oh, you just want the Jorgenson quote? I could do an American accent pretty well.
Yeah, but he's got that really slow...
He has got a specific American accent.
Yeah, he's got the West Coast sound.
I'm just going to read it in the King's English. No, let's say Queen's English.
Oh, Johnny
Jorgenson.
Wow.
Well, I made a new friend this year with Victor. He used to be, I would say, a semi-enemy in the peloton. We were not getting along in the past. I just didn't know who he was. When you don't know someone and you're kind of tense with them, it's much easier to make an enemy out of them. And then once I got to know him from like the first team days last November, he completely tore down all my defences. He's now a really close friend. And then says how much he loves doing the vlogs at the tour, which is how we kind of got to know they were good pals, which is nice to hear. I also saw, did you see this other interview last week with Victor Campenaerts in Ride magazine, where he described the Tour de France as a 3-week cycling holiday in France? So
that's a fairly damning indictment of how the Visma boys approach that tour.
Yeah, exactly. Or just how maybe good Victor Campenaerts is.
Or maybe, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, a great duo. Didn't know we needed them. To be honest, Kit, as much as I wanted to move on to, and okay, actually, before we move back to the lunch and your ridiculing of his kitchen.
It's not ridiculing. I was pleased to see that he's more like me than he is like Pogacar, maybe.
Or Wout van Aert. We have the duality of Visma Kitchen.
Or anyone sponsored by Quickstep or any of those kitchen, or Bora Boys, I guess.
The Bora Boys with their
posh design kitchens,
fans.
Yeah.
Can such thing as a semi-enemy exist? Because I'd say it's more... Okay, maybe this just speaks to me and my foibles. I would say you're either an enemy or you're not. I would say there's a. We all know about my black book. There's not a grey book hanging around. It's just black book or not.
Yeah,
So
I see
think
that.
this is this him saving face, or is it because he's a nice man, so he would never completely cast someone out in the cold? But I would say I would critique his definition of semi-enemy. I would say that Victor Campenaerts was his enemy, but then the story has come full circle and they are now friends, which is much nicer. It's a better story than being like, I kind of was tense with him, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that you would be some kind of version of an enemy, even if that really meant that you just didn't go out of your way to say hello, because they're on different teams.
Yeah, you can't be friends with
But
everyone.
in America,
insane.
that isn't like we say hello to everyone. I feel like when we go
You
abroad,
do.
this is one thing that people often notice about Americans is that we just like we go out of our way to like talk to you, and that's probably annoying if you're
So
not used to it.
maybe
We're just worried you're trying to high five us all the time.
Why don't
I
you
think
want a high
that's
five?
most-
Just accept the high five.
I don't want it.
Okay.
Not you. Yeah, no, not high five. Not big on high fives in Europe. Anyway, yeah, maybe that's it. But I think Victor Campenaerts probably doesn't have any enemies, or maybe
no,
everyone's
he's
his enemy.
anything
know.
that I ever see when he's got his guard down, he always seems like a absolute character, and he would be hard to. Yeah, definitely near the top of the list of cyclists I would willingly, happily,
Yeah,
enthusiastically go for a beer with.
yeah. I think
Have
he'd
we-
probably put
have
his
we ever,
nose tape on and
Like
try
made a
and
list
drink
of
it through
those. I feel like that would be an interesting.
That
list
seems like
to-
a good after dark.
maybe a good after dark.
segment.
Perhaps. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, why not? Maybe to close us off, some Ken Utterbrook news.
Oh yeah. Speaking of cute quotes, yeah. So Kian Utterbrooks, or however we decided we're saying his name, or his name is
Sounds
said.
right. What you just said.
So as we all know, he is heading to Movistar in one of the surprise transfers of the season, of the off season, and he has evidently been on his first team camp, and he has spoken with Sporza, his home newspaper, so Belgian newspaper, about his first introduction to his new team, and he described it as blissful, which I think
No
is
way.
lovely.
Is
yeah,
that because everyone left him alone? He didn't have to do any sort of time
because he
trial,
can't speak Spanish.
kit testing. There was no sort of rigorous.
Well, he said it
Prep
felt
or
like
planning.
coming home.
What does
I
that
don't,
mean?
I don't know what that means.
Is
Coming
he
home
from
to
Spain?
where?
Does he have a place there? Is that? What
I
the-
think what so he
Does he
also
know
described
anyone
he
there?
described himself as quite kind of essentially neurotic and
Yep,
as if it tracks, and then explained that as it felt almost as if, well, the impression I got is that it was almost as if his neurosis and the embedded neurosis of Visma Lisa Bike didn't work together.
Yes.
He needed a team where they were going to be like, tranquilo, it's okay,
Yes.
Kian, we'll be fine.
Nice. That's a very
And-
good Movistar impression.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good.
it's more of an Italian impression than anyway.
I'd have to roll with it.
Yeah, so he and it's very much less app based. Apparently, the experience at Movistar, they actually talk to each other. He speaks to people every day. He has a personal dietitian. So basically, it sounds like it's a much more tailored thing. He also mentioned that he felt like, now let me get the actual. Make sure it's an
No
actual
apps
person.
is such a
It's great, isn't it?
that his stock is going well up, being like, I'm just sick of all the apps, and
Yeah,
Movistar
yeah.
is an app-free zone,
Yeah, an app-free
despite
zone.
being sponsored by a telecoms company.
Telecom company, exactly.
Really
But
good.
it's one of the reasons that things went a little bit sour. He wonders at Visma was that because Marijn Zeeman was his mentor, or
Yeah.
his he really kind of, I don't know, championed
The guy
him.
who, yeah.
Championed Kian, and his departure kind of helped. It was one of the catalysts for his misery at Visma. I mean, yeah, he is also gracious about the team, and you know, obviously he wants to target Grand Tours, and they've got a lot of great riders. But yeah, it just sounds like things are going well so far at Movistar. He's very, very happy. He's in a blissful state of tranquility.
Yeah, he's communicating via post or shouting out of his hotel balcony window, which is how I imagine a lot of the communication probably happens over there. Shall we sashay over to the members only section, which is After Dark? Because I think that's more than enough for the main show.
That was
There's a couple
quite
of things I want to get
chunky
to.
episode. Yeah.
It was a chunky episode. Yeah, I woke up to a lot of interesting things happening over the past few days. On the so sign up if you're not a member. Thank you to members that have, because in After Dark today we got a little Pagatra update which we are burying behind our audio paywall. We might pick out a couple of riders we'd like to go for a beer with. We're going to talk about Kit's time in the outer somewhere on an island, and then Dane, I want to talk about your Sunday evening briefly, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Right, so to any of the people on the free feed on the regular show, goodbye, see you on Friday. There's always the option to become a member. It's never too late. It's nearly Christmas. Have you seen everyone calling this month Black November as a sort of from Black Friday becoming Black November? So it's just sales all the time. We're not running a sale as far as I'm aware, but to be honest, our prices are reasonable enough for what you get, including getting money off your helmets.
Quite often, when you think you're getting money off something in Black November, you're not anyway.
So true. So frickin' true. So yeah, do maybe consider signing up. It'd be, honestly, if you sign up in November, that would be very Victor Campanarts of you. Very Movistar of you. And we'd appreciate it. So goodbye, members. We'll see you in a second.